The 28th Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or COP28, is set to kick off on 30th November until the 12th of December in the UAE. The COP28 agenda outlines a comprehensive framework encompassing diverse themes and initiatives, all aimed at catalyzing global action to combat climate change. The world stands at a critical juncture in its fight against climate change. This gathering in the UAE signifies the collective commitment required to navigate the intricate challenges posed by climate change and forge a sustainable future for all. And joining me is my colleague Vinod Kumar from the UAE. Vinod, what's on the agenda of the COP28 this year?
See, Ramesh, as we speak now, on November 24th, the pre-sessionals of the COP have already begun in Dubai. Before coming to the agenda, let me give an intro of what are the pre-COP that have already happened. Pre-COP sessionals have already happened in Abu Dhabi, discussing various modalities of financing nature-centric development and, of course, arresting the temperature rise beyond 1.5 degrees. So essential to the UN framework of convention, COP stands as a primary decision-making body, uniting representatives from 197 nations. And throughout this Dubai conference, there will be the incoming COP28 presidency will hold open consultations on thematic areas and sequencing, inviting inputs from broad mix of stakeholders that will attend the conference. The presidency and the incoming presidency will intend to engage in parties throughout the year, has already engaged parties throughout the year in ministerial, head of delegation, and at the technical levels. So coming to your question, what will be the things that will be discussed in COP28? Of course, fast tracking the move to clean energy sources and to slash greenhouse gas emissions before 2030. And the most important part is delivering money for the climate action from richer to poor countries. In COP27, which happened in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, we have developed a concept of the loss and damage fund, in which the developing countries are about to give a significant sum to the poor developing countries. There will be discussions this year on a new collective goal, quantified goal fund with a base of $100 billion to start with, because as we see the progress, how the climate change is happening throughout the world, the current commitments are not enough. And there will be also discussions on how the richer countries are really, their intention to pay for the poor countries. United States have clearly said that they are not going to give reparations for its historical emissions. So this COP28 definitely will have a discussion on all these aspects on climate-related financing. And the second most important agenda on the table is on nature and people. The COP28 tries to make this UN framework on climate change the most inclusive ever. As I mentioned earlier, COP27 had already this loss and damage fund. And this year, the agenda is very clear to make sure that the developed countries will pay for the poor countries. And the most important thing that is going to happen in this COP28 is the first ever stock take of the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement was ratified in the year 2015, and this is going to be the first time when evaluation of the Paris Agreement happens, where the world stands when it comes to the meeting of the goals and taking the inputs. The stock take will help policymakers and stakeholders to strengthen their climate policies and commitments by this year, and to come with a clear nationally determined contribution.
Right.
And there will also be discussions on the Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Just after the COP27 happened in Egypt, the Conference of Parties have convened at Montreal in Canada for the 15th CBD convention. There they developed this concept of Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, where a comprehensive roadmap for halting and reversing biodiversity was discussed. So all these things are there in the agenda items of COP28, and we can hope that a new commitment will come out of this COP28 that is going to happen in Dubai.
Also, we know, talking about the participation at the summit in terms of countries and leaders who all can be expected to take part in COP28.
See, as I have told before, UN Framework Convention on Climate Change is the primary decision-making body, and they unite around 197 nations. So we can expect The heads of state of all these countries coming here in Dubai, including our Prime Minister. These UN FCC COP is divided into 5 segments: Asia, Africa, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Latin America, and Americas. So this year, the presidency is on UAE, and that's why it is happening here. And we can expect all the leaders from all the nations, their environment ministers, their technical delegations, and their finance delegations, and their officiating officers to come here. This is going to be one of the biggest events that the world is witnessing.
All right, we leave it at that. Vinod, thank you. That was Vinod Kumar reporting from Dubai in the UAE.